Time now for a Fox 5 Health Watch. Intermittent fasting became a trendy way to lose weight. This National Nutrition Month, we're joined by a dietitian to figure out if it's healthy or not. That's the more important question. From MedStar Washington Hospital Center, we want to bring in Marian Irvin to get the top 5 questions answered. Marian, good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You know, I've heard a lot about this. I have some friends and family who love it, who swear by it. First off, what is intermittent fasting and is it healthy?
Yeah, so intermittent fasting is different than other diets. With other diets, we think of restricting food or food groups. Intermittent fasting, on the other hand, deals with the timing of your meals. So you either restrict during some hours of the day, or restrict during some days of the week. So there are a lot of different ways to do it, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done on whether or not it's healthy, especially in the long term, because we really only have some short-term studies.
Gotcha. So would you say this may fall under the right way to fast, that category? Do we know that yet even?
We don't really know that either. Most of the studies that we have are animal studies. We do have a few human studies, but really they're all small sample sizes and none for over a long period of time. So we only know the short-term effects of intermittent fasting.
Gotcha. Now, on the days that you're not fasting, do you swing from one extreme to the other? I mean, can you eat whatever you want?
Yeah, so we always like to tell people, you know, it's always still important to have a balanced diet. We never like to restrict food, but, you know, continue to have as many fruits and vegetables as possible and still eat balanced meals to help make it a sustainable way of weight loss.
And in the limited research that we have, what are the health benefits that we've seen so far?
Yep. So with that limited research, it says, you know, in combination with endurance exercise, it can certainly lead to weight loss. Also can aid in insulin sensitivity. It can improve digestion, help in inflammation. So those are just some of the sort of preliminary effects that we've seen so far with that limited research.
You know, we talk a lot about when it comes to eating healthy or diet, although that comes with all of its connotations. But in this context, whether it's sustainable, have we seen this to be sustainable, especially if maybe you've reached your ideal weight?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. No, we haven't, unfortunately. And that's such an important part about dieting. Is it sustainable? Because if it's not sustainable, then, you know, we can't really say it's that effective, right? So we don't know whether or not it's sustainable just because, again, we don't have those long-term studies that we look for.
Who do you think is the best candidate for this type of dieting or fasting, and who should maybe not try it?
Yep. So there's no one group that I can say, yes, this would definitely benefit. But there are groups of people that I, you know, want to say, man, maybe they shouldn't try this. And those are people who are pregnant or breastfeeding. At that time in our lives, our body needs energy and nutrition. People who take medicine with food because this can mess that up. Anyone under the age of 18, at that time, our hunger and fullness cues aren't yet fully developed. So I don't like to tell people to start changing the way they're eating until we have a full idea of how our body works. And anybody who has a history of disordered eating.
So this is probably something that you should bring up with your dietitian or nutritionist just to see ultimately whether this could work for you.
Exactly. That is a wonderful point. And sometimes it can be difficult to find a dietitian. So I always recommend, you know, going to your healthcare provider and see if they are working with a dietitian that they can connect you with in the community. So you can work one-on-one and see if this is really a good idea for you.
Absolutely. All right. A lot of folks trying it. Glad we got some of the basics answered this morning. Marian Irvin from MedStar, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.